Today in Solve Easy channel, we'll be discussing on the domain of a function. So the first question we have to ask is, what is domain of a function? Now, domain of a function are inputs that you can put in replacement of x and to make this function defined. That is all inputs that s can take and it will remain defined. So for example, now if I'm having 0/0, this number is undefined if you press your calculator. If I'm having a number over 0, it is undefined. And if I'm having the square root of a negative number, it is as well undefined. So those are three things you'll be watching out for when solving the domain of a function. 0/0, number over 0, and the square root of a negative number. Press this in any calculator, it will give you math error or syntax error depending on the calculator. Now the one thing I want us to get is that for every denominator, x or the number cannot be equals to 0. Also for square root of a given value, the value here must be greater than or equals to 0. For the square root of any given value, the value must be greater than or equals to 0. But for denominators, you combine these two together. That is to say, the value there must not be 0 and must be strictly greater than 0. Now, also what I want us to get today is bracket, open bracket and close bracket. Remember, this is open bracket and this is closed bracket. Now, for a open bracket, if I'm having 2 here and I'm having 6 in an open bracket, now this simply means that the value here didn't start from 2. It starts from 3, and the value here did not end in 6. It ends in 5. That is to say, since it's an open bracket, this 2 is not included, and since here also is an open bracket, this 6 is not included. So also for closed bracket, it's somehow reverse. If I'm having 2, 6, now the number starts from 2 and it ends in 6. No backward, no forward. So the numbers here are 2 to 6. So we are going to combine the open bracket and closed bracket, which we call mathematically as clopun bracket. So it is, if I'm having 2 here and I'm having 6, but I'm putting a closed bracket in 6. So what will happen here? It simply means that the number starts from 3 and ends in 6. So the number here are 3 to 6. Remember, here is an open bracket, here is a closed bracket. So since it's an open bracket, it starts from 3 and it ends in 6. So if I'm to have 2, 6. Now this means that the number starts from 2 and ends in 5, because here I'm having an open bracket. No, now note that if I'm having negative infinity and positive infinity, note that in those occasions you can't put a closed bracket to an infinity sign. The bracket that you must always use for an infinity sign is always open bracket, because you can't count an infinity number. So also for negative infinity. So let's take note of that, the open bracket and the closed bracket, and let's learn how to use them, because we'll be using them throughout our tutorials today. To solve a question, let's name this number 1. We have the function of x is equal to x minus 5 over the root of x minus 6. Now, the question says that we should find the domain of this function. So the first thing you need to do is you have to equate x minus 5 to 0, and you have to equate x minus 6 to 0. So this means that from here I'm having x is equals to 5, and here I'm having x is equals to 6. So the next thing you need to do is you just come to your number line, draw a straight line. Now this will be your negative infinity, this will be your positive infinity. So you just take 2 points and you name 5 and 6. Let's call here 5. Let's call here 6. Now, before 5, I'm having 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, minus 1, minus 2, and so on. So after 6, I'm having 7, 8, 9, 10 to infinity, also to negative infinity. Now what we have to do next is that we want to look for a value that s can take to make this function defined. That is, the function must not be 0 over 0, must not be number over 0, here must not be root of negative value. Now let's start. If I input a number, if I choose any number before 5, maybe I choose 4, for example, let's input 4 here. That is, I'm having the root of 4 minus 6. So 4 minus 6 is what? Minus 2. So this is undefined. That is to say, I'm having the root of a negative number. That is to say, 4 and any number here are not included. If I should apply 5 here, I'm having 5 minus 6, the root of 5 minus 6, which is the root of minus 1. This is an undefined number. That is, from 5 downward, it is undefined. So the next number here is 6. Now let's put 6 here. If I'm to apply x minus 5 over root 6 over 6, let's put 6 here. Using 6, 6 minus 5 is 1. 1 over root 6 minus 6 is what? 0. 1 over 0. Note that root 0 is what? 0. So now I'm having number over 0, which makes this also undefined. So those are the things you have to watch out for. Now lastly, let's look for a number after 6. For example, let's plug in 7. I'm saying x minus 5, that is 7 minus 5 over root of 7 minus 6. 7 minus 5 is equals to 2, and 7 minus 6 is equals to 1. The root of 1 is 1, that is, I'm having 2 over 1, which is equals to 2. Now, we see that from 7 upward, they are the numbers that we can use to substitute for x in this variable. That is, from 7 upward, will give us a defined function. No, that is to say, if we are to use this in a bracket form, we have to open our brackets and we say the values start from 7 and ends infinity. Now remember what I taught us, because it's an open bracket, it starts from 7. 6, it didn't start from 6. If it were a closed bracket, it starts from 6. So we use an open bracket to represent this, and we can't use a closed bracket for infinity. That is, the values here are 7 to infinity. So if we are to represent it in inequality, we have to say x is greater than or equals to 7. X is greater than or equals to 7. Or you can just say x is greater than 6. For question number 2, we are asked to find the domain of this function. Now, the first thing I said we should do is that we equate the numerator of x plus 5, equate it to be 0, and the denominator x minus 6, equate it to be 0. That is to say, that I'm taking this here, x is equals to minus 5, and also for the denominator, x is equals to positive 6. So quickly, we are going to draw our number line. So here I'm having this negative infinity here I'm having positive infinity. So the first here is negative 5. Then I will choose here as my negative 5. And here also here as positive 6. Now next thing we have to do is that from negative 5, remember the numbers we are having downward is negative. From here I'm having negative 6, negative 7, negative 8. Here I'm having 4, 5, negative 4, negative 3. Here I'm having 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9 to infinity. Now we have to choose any value, any number from between negative infinity to 5 and positive infinity, and so on. So let's choose a number here. Let's assume we choose negative 6 and let's apply it. So I'm having negative 6 plus 5. Remember we're having a root sign over negative 6 minus 6. Now this is equal to negative 6 plus 5 will be equals to negative 1 over negative 6 minus negative 6, which is negative 12. So this minus sign will cancel each other. So I'm having the root of 1 over 12. So this is a correct value. That is to say, it is not a I forget the English. Sorry, it is not a undefined value. It's a defined value. That is to say, we can apply this since it didn't give us a negative number under the fraction. So we are having root 1 over 2. That is 6. Here is correct. Let's try negative 5. If we apply negative 5 here, negative 5. So negative 5 plus 5 will give us 0 over negative 5 minus 6. Negative 5 minus 6 will give us negative 11. So here we are having 0 over 11, which gives us the root of 0. If you press it, it will give you 0. The root of 0 is 0. So 0 is also a defined number. So that is to say, negative 5, negative 6, and to negative infinity, we can apply them so they are correct. So let's try 0 for instance. If we apply 0 here, 0 plus 5 and 0 minus 6. So I'm having the root of 0 plus 5 is 5 over 0 minus 6. This is plus 5 and minus 6. This will definitely give us a negative number. So that is to say, from negative 5 to 0, we are having a undefined value. So let's try for 6 now. If we try 6 plus 5 over 6 minus 6. With this 6 minus 6 will give us 0. That is, if I'm having 0 here, it will already make it an undefined value because number over 0 is undefined. Now let's take 7. If I'm having 7 plus 5 over 7 minus 6. So the answer will be 7 plus 5 is 12 all over 7 minus 6. Now 7 minus 6 is 1, but I'm having a root of 12. This is a defined value. That is from 7 to infinity. They are defined. So if I'm to write this in inequality sign using our number line, I'm to write that x, remember here, x is less than or equals to minus 5. And I wrote this because x minus 5 gave us a defined value to negative infinity. They give us defined value, and x is greater than 6, because 6 gives us an undefined value, while 7 gives us a defined value. 7 to infinity will give us a defined value. To write this in bracket form, to say since s starts from negative infinity, that is you come back a negative infinity to close the bracket here, negative 5, because negative 4 gives us an undefined value. So if you come to x to this other side, I'm having s start from 7 to positive infinity. So our final answer will be this union this. That is s start from negative infinity to negative 5 and start from negative 6 to positive 6, to positive infinity. Now, to solve our third question, we have the f of s is equal to the root of this times this. Remember, if we should multiply this, we have to have a quadratic equation. So at any time you see a question like this, having these two variables and you can multiply to give you a quadratic equation, it makes work easier. That is to say, first let's equate this to 0, this and this. That is, I'm having x minus 1 is equal to 0 and x plus 2 is equal to 0. Now I'm having s is equal to 1 and x is equal to minus 2. So the next thing we do is to draw our number line. Now draw a number line. This is negative infinity and this is positive infinity. I'm to put my number 2 here, minus 2 and 1. So before number 2, minus 2, I'm having minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, so on. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now there's a principle I want us to know when we see a kind of quadratic function. So when we see something like this, if at any point you choose a value here and it gives you a defined function, that is, your answer is not 0 over 0. If here is defined, this point will be undefined and this point will be defined. If this place is defined, this place will be undefined, this place will be defined. Note that it's only for a quadratic function. If here is defined, here will be undefined and here also will be defined. So also, if this place is undefined, this place will be defined and this place will be undefined. So let's check. Including, if here is defined, 2 will be the maximum defined value. If here also is defined, 1 will be the maximum defined value. That is from minus 2 downward to 1, we are having undefined values. So let's do this so we understand more clearly. Now I'm having x is equal to 1, x is equal to minus 2. So let's apply this. So let's choose any number in this bracket. So I'm having let's choose minus 4 for instance. If I choose minus 4, I'm having minus 4 minus 1 using this multiplied by minus 4 plus 2. So minus 4 minus 1 will give us minus 5. Minus 4 plus 2 will give us negative 2. So multiplying this, I'm having positive 10. So it gave us a positive number. Now that is to say, minus 4 is positive, so that is, it's a defined value. So if here is defined, this point will be undefined and this point will be defined. Now if I want to write my number in bracket form, all I need to do is to say that I will open my bracket, put my negative infinity, and the defined value ends in negative 2. I will close my bracket at negative 2. Union, coming here, it starts at positive 1. I will close my bracket at positive 1 because it's not after 1, and I will open my bracket at infinity. So in our next class, we'll be treating more complex questions on domain of a function, and also we'll be discussing on range and domain of a function in subsequent classes. So thank you for watching. today's tutorial. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay blessed.